Hey everyone, I'm Nick Cruz, and today I am joined by Armando Hernandez, who is plays for the Mexican Lobos. That is going to be coming up here for the Latin American Cup here at the Florida Panthers Ice Den in Coral Springs, Florida. Armando, thank you so much for joining me. How you doing?
Good, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Armando, you told me a little bit about your story, and I find it a little bit interesting. It's just about the history of the hard work you put in to play the game of hockey, about your life and how much you really want to connect with the community and how all these passions tie in. But before we get into all these major milestones and things you've done for the community, let's get to know a little bit of Armando. So, Armando, tell us where you're from and a little bit of how you started finding out about hockey.
Yeah, of course. So I'm originally from Los Angeles County. I was actually born in a small town named El Monte, California, and then I kind of moved around all over Southern California. I was born to immigrant parents from Mexico, and uh, we didn't really have enough money to kind of have like extracurriculars or anything growing up. So throughout most of my youth life, I was just going to school, coming home, um, and just doing the daily necessities just to live life. And once I got to high school, I started getting into sports. But after high school was over, the high school helps in a lot of those programs. And so I had wanted to try to find something to stay in shape, and I actually made friends with someone from Canada over the video game system. And he had said, hey, why don't you try hockey? And I said, what? Hockey? I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it. It's not really normal in our culture, and even in our family, we didn't really know what it was. And so uh, he convinced me to go out and try it. And as soon as I watched the game, I just completely fell in love with it. I would watch the adult games for hours and hours, even though I was just a fan in the stands. I admired the game and how it was played and just everything about it. And that's when I knew I had something special there. So
And it's so interesting because, I was actually talking to one of your teammates prior to this interview. His name was Dominic, also mentioning the same thing about how, culturally, even for myself, first generation parents are from Colombia, where when we hear about hockey, we're like, what's hockey, right? We're all about, soccer, or we call it football, as being like the number one sport in our culture. But how important it is to see how the game has grown and to see that even for us, we're like now seeing so many people are picking up the game from many different cultures, or the non-hockey cultures are starting to pick it up. And even for you, I'm sure when you first played and everything, it must have been exciting. So when you started playing in your younger years and everything, you've had some mentors along the way. What was your family support like, first off?
it was always good, but they didn't really understand. I had a couple times where they'd come out to a couple skates, and they'd oh, that's awesome. But when I brought them out to games, it was like, okay, I can't really follow this. At least when I first started as a forward. But when it was a goalie, it was like, okay, mom, dad, it's real simple. I just stop the puck. That's it. And so it was easy for them to follow at that point, because it was like, okay, it's not necessarily a soccer ball, but it's a puck, and our son is supposed to just make sure it doesn't go on the goal. So it was at first, it was a little confusion because they couldn't really follow the game, but as it kind of progressed, it was they were able to understand the game a lot more, and appreciate it with me and love it and see that it was a big part of my life. I mean, I would spend so much time at the rink, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go play hockey. I'll be right back, mom.
Mm.
So
So the support was there, and you also mentioned, one of your key points in your life was because you are a goalkeeper, is a guy named Steve Grimm, and how important he was to your development as a goalkeeper throughout the years and everything. Tell me a little about Steve and how he's impacted your life playing hockey.
oh, he's incredible. I mean, I consider him, and he still is my hockey dad. Like I said, it's not really known in our culture. So I was very happy and blessed that that I found someone that was passionate about the game as well. And he had played for about 40 years, and he kind of showed me the beginner stuff, how to tie your skates. And he would even go as far as making videos, because we lived far away from each other, showing me, hey, this is how you do your toe ties, this is how you do your skate laces. But the biggest support that I got from him was, as a beginner, you're gonna fall, you're gonna, fail, you're not gonna do the best, you're not gonna just go on there and be a complete stud. And so one of the big things that I got from him was just a constant motivation and just the belief that, hey, I just got to put in the hard work and keep going, and being a good teammate. That was a big factor too that he had voiced to me is, don't just worry about just being a good goalie, like, have an actual influence and be a great, teammate to the guys and gals in the room, because you can just be replaced with stats, but if they remember you for other reasons, you did a pretty good job. So
And that's been one of the big sticking points about you that I really admire about you, Armando, is the fact that you're very big on helping out the community and growing the game, and which is so important for our tournament. And that's what the tournament's all about, right? Growing the game of hockey for all audiences, especially those non-hockey countries. And one of the things you even mentioned that you said that HPOC reached out to you to be about like an ambassador or to help out their team to help grow the game, and how much you like to help out the young, youth, to help out adults to understand your position better, especially as a goalkeeper. It's a pretty tough position, right? You're getting scored on a lot. That was something you also mentioned. You're getting a lot of goals, but having that mentality to basically never give up and keep going and going, and telling the other, the young kids out there, you might get 10 goals passed by you, but just keep getting back up and keep going. And that's been a strong message to you about, being culturally and community involved. So what are some things you've been doing with the community to help grow the game?
yeah, so I've early on in community college when I was just kind of, starting here and trying it out, I was actually president of a couple clubs such as the Dreamers Club. So I advocated for the Dreamers. And then I also did cultural events with Latinx, and I also did awareness just on an entire school body of like 3,000 students or 22,000 students at my community college. But I also just advocated in the community. I did community service. I would go to food banks and, just try to help out any way I could, because that community just supported me even through my worst experiences beyond hockey. Growing up in a low income area and, not being able to have resources to afford, the nice equipment or the new car or anything like that. But, we still had a close knit community. And so, I always think of them in every work that I do. And it's just really anything. I mean, in a couple weeks here, I'm a guest for Latinas in Tech for Seattle in the chapter. So Latinas being hired in the tech industry. And I'm also involved with a program at my college right now called UDS, and it serves undergraduate diverse students. So, I mean, there really is no limit for me. I mean, if I'm invited or if it's something that, I'd like to get involved with, I'm usually always there, and any sort of way. I mean, last year, even with my former club, I donated with me and my team over 100 bears. They
That's
had
incredible.
600 bears, and we donated over 100. And it feels good just to give back and just to make it bigger than hockey.
And I think that's such an important point you made right there. Make it bigger than hockey, right? It's about hockey itself. Yes, it's a sport, but also impacting other lives and knowing that, we're inspiring the youth and those who may be struggling to learn that, hey, there is a brighter tomorrow, and we're there for the community. And I have nothing but full respect for everything you've done, Armando, especially after hearing your story and how much you've been through to get to this point today. But I also want to touch on another point, because you did mention college hockey, and I think it's fair that I bring it up because I know you're considered the number one Husky fan in California. So tell me us a little bit about the love for the Huskies and how that came to be, because I know that was a big point for you.
Oh man, like even my superintendent would call me Mr. Washington. Like everybody knew that I wanted to go to this school, but it was and play for the hockey team. It was just like it was almost like it became a part of my image. And how that came to be was I just came up here to visit some family members. And we actually, by accident, went the wrong direction and stumbled across a fountain. And at the university, there's this big giant fountain. And I was so intrigued by it that I looked up what it was. And then I saw that it was a university. And then I went back and toured the campus and just completely fell in love. And that's when I figured I wanted to pursue education there. But with the hockey team, I was a big fan of them. Gosh, maybe for about 2 years or three. Man, I was like the biggest social media fan. Like, I was like, yep, the Huskies are the best team. If I'm California, they're in Washington, but they're the best hockey team. And I got a chance to actually see them in San Diego when they played the San Diego Aztecs, and they came down and I was so excited. I even have a pre-recording of me like talking before I was there. And one of the things I talked about was, oh my gosh, like this is something I would love to do someday. And I dream about wearing the purple and gold. And then when I got to watch them play, it almost just set in like, man, like this is my dream. Like this is something I want to do. And talked to the staff and the coaches, and kept in touch for a little bit. And then, as I had mentioned to you uh, about certain adversity happening in my life, where certain events changed a lot of things, but I still had in mind going to the university and playing for the team. So I had reached out, and they originally, the plan was, we're going to help you develop. But then, when I went to camp and, made myself a lot different, and I mean, they didn't really have a lot of options. So it was like, hey, I'm the guy, and as a backup. So it was a great experience. And all my former teammates, I love them all. And I thank them for that, because that really what gave me the spirit of competitive hockey, because I never really had that before. I watched it, but once you actually go out there and experience it, it's like you want to keep doing it again and again and again. And that's part of the reason why I spend so much time and resources and effort on this new training that I've started about a year and a half ago.
And all the training and everything has now led us to this point coming up, which is the Latin American Cup. So swapping out the purple and gold, going with the green and white. I know you mentioned something really cool that we're going to show in a little bit here, but you were wanted to dedicate the tournament and Team Mexico and your culture and your heritage. You decided you want to make a custom goalie mask. So tell us a little bit about it. How did that come to be, and what are the designs you're going to throw on there?
So I was kind of known initially. I was kind of known as the guy with the cool mask, the cool pads. I was always I'm studying marketing in college, and I just always liked goalies that had personality. And obviously, the mask is somewhere where you can kind of unleash your personality. And so once I figured out that I was going to be a member of the Huskies, I had reached out to one of the local painters in Southern California, and I said, hey, I need a mask for the next season. And he absolutely killed it. I mean, he made the most angry looking husky you've ever seen. He did scratch marks, and then he did a lot of special things on the back plate, which referenced, home, family, a couple quotes. I threw on something there for Steve. And so for this team, it was such an honor that for me, it was almost like I had to make another mask. And this one had to be not only dedicated to, the actual team, but just expressing the beautiful nation and its people, and kind of what has made our culture so amazing, and what has allowed us to play this hockey. And I really credit our hard work ethic, of part of our culture, and just the desire to keep trying. And we're going to keep going and keep working as hard as we can. And so a couple of the designs, I want to kind of keep it a little low key, because I want to
Of
surprise
course.
everybody. But I am going to throw a wolf on there. It's going to be pretty angry looking. I'm going to mix kind of the colors, red, white, and green, with also some gold highlights. And then I'm also going to throw an eagle on one of the sides. And then on the back, I'm actually going to put uh, couple references to the land, and also a couple references to my father, who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago. But it's going to be a nice touch there to honor him on that mask in the tournament too.
It seems like, you put a lot of thought in behind your goalie mask, which you mentioned is true. About your personality, about your life, and everything you've put into it. Armando, thank you so much for taking your time out to talk with me today. Tell us a little about your story. And if you can leave before we go, looking into the camera, give us your words of encouragement, maybe for the next player that's probably thinking about being a goalie, or maybe someone that's thinking about hockey. What's your message to them?
Just keep believing in yourself. There's going to be tons of people that might doubt you, that might tell you you cannot do it. There's going to be, even people that you might think that are very close to you. I mean, that's happened to me. But the biggest advice I have is just believe in yourself. If you want to chase after something or pursue something, just put yourself out there and really do it with passion and heart. Because that your teammates and your family members and anybody that meets you can tell when it's authentic and when you actually have love for the game, the team, and everybody that's around. So that's what I would say is just really don't give up on yourself. Keep pursuing whatever you want to pursue, and then also be authentic about it and have passion and love. And the other thing is kind of like an extra thing is try to surround yourself with amazing people. I mean, my hockey journey has been incredible, but I would have never been here without my incredible family, my community, and especially right now, I've met a lot of my teammates already, and they're incredible human beings, and I can't say good things about everybody that supported me. So
Armando,
yeah,
thank you so much for your hard work, your dedication to growing the game and helping out the community. We'll definitely look forward to seeing you during the tournament, which is going to be from August 23rd through August 27th. Make sure you catch us at the Florida Panthers Ice Den. Armando, once again, thank you so much for taking your time out and doing this interview with me.
thank you, Nick, for having me. And go Lobos.